Welcome to another edition of Smalltalk for You. This morning we're going to continue with the VA Smalltalk debugger, and I've created a small class. It's a simple counter app. So I've got a counter, it's got an instance variable that's going to either go one up or one down. You see I've got an add one method, and I've got a subtract one method. Now this subtract one method has an obvious flaw in it. I'm subtracting 10 instead of 1. The point here is that I wanted to demonstrate a feature of the debugger without going into over complex things with a long method. But you can kind of pretend for the purpose of this that this is a long complex method. So with that in mind, let's push this aside. I have a workspace set up here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight this part of the expression right here. I'm going to do a run, and then I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the counter by inspecting it, and notice that as I expect, my count is at 1. So that's pretty much what I want. Let's go ahead and try subtract 1 though, and let's just go ahead and display the value, and that gives me -9, which I know is not what I really want. So presuming that this is a more complex method than it is, I'd come in here and say, well, I'm not sure what's wrong here. Maybe I'd like to insert a breakpoint. And it turns out that's pretty easy to do. What you do is you just right-click here, and there's an option for break. And you have a few things you can do. Stop and process, and I want to say all, but you could change it. And you could stop at iteration, and you could again change this to, if this was some kind of iteration, on which particular iteration. And stop when true, so you could have some expression here, which I'm going to leave be. I'm just going to leave that to true. So this is the default, meaning stop whenever I hit this. So let's go ahead and hit OK. And now that breakpoint's there, you see a little red that tells me that's there. Now I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to try counter subtract 1 again. Just hit run, and it's going to break and go into the debugger that I went through the other day. And you see that we're right here at the beginning of the method, and I can go over there. It's going to assign to count -10. I now can see what my problem is, and I can presumably fix this by changing that to -1 and hit Control S. And now when I try this again, let's go ahead and display that. And it should be down to -10 because last time it was -9. Now I fixed it, now it's at -10, so it's exactly the way I expect things to work. Now, interestingly enough, let's go back to our browser. Now when I recompiled the method, I got rid of the breakpoint. But let's just take a look at something. I want to put down my cursor here again, and I want to add the breakpoint. Now when I have the breakpoint there, a couple of things I can do. Let's go ahead and right-click again. And with my breakpoint, there are a couple of options I can do. I can deactivate it, or I can clear it. If I want to deactivate it, notice what happens. It's still there, but it won't operate. So now if I come in here and try counter subtract 1, I'm going to run like I would expect, but it's not going to work with the breakpoint. Whereas I come in again, I can say activate it or clear it. Notice when I hit clear, it just goes away completely. So I have some interesting flexibility with the breakpoints. I can deactivate them but leave them in the text of the code so that I can come back and activate them later, or I can just turn them off completely. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with whatever Smalltalk you're using.